Hello, so in this video we're going to go over the key questions of this paper. So, so the question was a report on Belgian radio, and for question one, essentially the question was to think about whether what happened to Hassan. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to show you the script. Here in the script, it says il est allé vivre chez son oncle pendant 2 mois quand sa mère a perdu son boulot. So, mom lost employment. Depuis quelques jours, il est SDF. SDF is homeless, and quelques jours means a few days. And depuis means since. So, since a few days, he is a homeless person. So, therefore, C. For question B, according to the news report, Hassan other students' parents are unemployed. Here again, if you look at the answer, it says, the key sentence is, les jeunes de son école vivent dans la rue, people of his schools live in the street, has him, à cause du chômage de leurs parents, because of unemployment of parents. In question 3, if we have a look at question, it's therefore wrote a newspaper article, B, and it says, le directeur a voulu faire quelque chose, he wanted to do something, il a appelé un journaliste, he called the journalist who has written an article. Le directeur espère que cela va aider Hassan à trouver un logement, he hopes that it will help him to find a place to stay. Un logement is a place to stay. But the question was there about, he called a journalist who wrote an article, not he wrote an article himself. So watch out who's doing the action in that question. Is the newspaper. It's the head teacher, not the journalist. Okay, number 4. What you've got there from number 4 is Hassan has passed his exam. He's unsure but successful in exam or will give up studies after the exam. If you look at the answers, here it says, en juin, il voudrait réussir. Il ne sait pas si ce sera possible. Voudrait is he would like to succeed, but he doesn't know if it will be possible or not. Okay, so watch out to use the il voudrait, would like. So answer B is unsure. For question 5, talking about volunteering this time. According to this report, students in Quebec volunteer to help at home and abroad. This was a difficult one. It says, en ce moment, il y a plus d'étudiants qui font du travail bénévole ici, au Québec et dans d'autres pays du monde. Quelquefois, ils connaissent les gens, mais le plus souvent, ce sont des inconnus. So, the answer is B, and therefore, ils connaissent les gens qui les aident, mais le plus souvent, ce sont des inconnus. But most of the time, there are people, unknown people. Question 6. The best way to create good impressions is to B, go and visit a charity in person, was the correct answer, because you had in the text, appeler l'association, yes, you had to call the association or charity, but then you had to take an appointment to meet them, pour les rencontrer, to meet them. Question 7, charities often ask students to organize events, and why was that? It's because les associations demandent rarement aux étudiants de distribuer de la nourriture. So rarely they ask people to distribute food. They prefer that they organized some events, as some sports tournaments. Question 8. Some students are put off volunteering because, pour certains, un inconvénient, c'est de travailler sans recevoir de salaire. Sans means without, so without receiving a salary, so for free. That is the issue. Okay, and the correct answer was B. So that concludes question 1 to 8. Okay, so here are the answer for question A. Why was this answer? If you look at the script again, it says, and then she orders for her. So elle le commande pour elle. She orders it for herself. Those were the clues alongside with arrête de me copier. She needs to stop copying me, and then si je porte quelque chose de nouveau, if I wear something new. So basically, she steals the ideas. When did she argue with her mom last time? Last night was about a new piercing, because although she talks about un tatouage, she said, I would like a tattoo in the future, but my mom will never agree. Elle ne sera jamais d'accord. So therefore you have, when she has seen my in my nose, her reaction was horrible. What could that be? That's the bit that you need to ask you about if you don't know the word petit trou. Petit trou means little hole. So if I've got a little hole in my nose, they could have used the word piercing in French, but I guess that would have been too easy. So they tried to challenge you with that. Question 10. Question 10, the correct answer was B. They read his text messages because in the script it says, the parents don't trust me, ils lisent les textos qu'on m'envoie, the textos that one sends me. Question 11. What does this boy say about his brother? His brother doesn't help at all, although it sounded like a girl in the audio file, as far as I remember. Chez nous, les disputes sont entre ma mère et mon frère. Un soir sur deux, quand elle lui demande d'aider, she asks him to help. So probably there is that he never helps at all if she's asking him to help. Here we go. So that was question 1, 9-1 to 11. Okay, so we are on question 12. What should you avoid doing without your friend's permission? This one was kind of a difficult question, and as you can see here on the actual question, it says, quand vous partagez des photos, respectez le choix de vos amis qui n'aiment pas être identifiés. This is a difficult question because it really wants you to unpick what is written in the underlined bits. So it says, respect the choice of your friends who don't like to be identified. So in other words, tagged. Okay? Ne le faites pas si vous n'avez pas leur permission. Don't do it if you don't have their permission. So therefore, based on this, the answer for that exercise is, and you've got to be careful for question 12, the correct answer is to identify them or identify your friends in the photos, but it must refer to either one of those ideas. So we can accept tag, name friends in pictures and show names, but we cannot accept to share, to take, upload and post photos of them. Okay, so here you can see an example of where the answer wasn't successful because it's not about sharing, it's about tagging them or identifying the friends. And I know that's a bit tricky, and it's a very similar question or a concept, but you need to have the idea that it's about tagging friends in picture, so then it's not about sharing pictures. Sharing pictures is fine, but not tagging them in, according to the listener. For question 13, it goes with what are the 2 things that you must not mention on your profile. Here, using mark scheme for question 13, we've got 2 aspects, and then it is when you connect online for the first time, it's compulsory to give details, personal, like your name and where you were born. That's what most of you who got wrong tried to write down, but that was not quite the question because that was for the first time. Par contre, dire son lieu de naissance et l'établissement où on est élève, c'est inutile. So give their place of birth and where you go to school. L'établissement is the establishment you go to school. Where we are student. Élève is student. It's not useful. Okay, so bear that in mind for that question. It's the place of birth on your provide and where you go to school must not be mentioned. Okay, you could have mentioned extra information, but here again, the mark scheme is quite specific. If you look at it, it's you need to make 1 mark for the place of birth, 1 for the school. You can accept where you were born, place of study and school, pupil or student which you attend, but you should not accept things like school and place of work, school address, or if you are a student. Okay, and again, this was a fairly difficult question. It's one that is trying to trick you into doing those things there. So not an easy one to complete. Okay, next question, and I think we're getting a little bit problem with the light. Question 14. Question 14 is when you should alert an adult. Here again, quite a few of you made mistakes there because question 14 says il faut avertir si vous voyez des commentaires désagréables. The rest was not necessarily useful. Des commentaires agréable is pleasurable, so pleasurable comments, so good comments, positive comments. However, if they were negative comments, okay, or harmful comments, here it says swearing, for instance, and things that are not civil, not acceptable on social networks. So here the answer for this one was if you see unpleasant comment, insults, or acceptable answers, if any of those would have been acceptable, feel free to pause. And if there was something unpleasant, if you see bad unwanted comment, or if you are being bullied, or rude comment, because rude refers to the word injure that you had in there. Okay, for the next question, you can, why shouldn't you be worried about your posts? And I know that some of you who are using things like WhatsApp and perhaps Facebook Messenger would disagree, but that's not what the listening says. It says you can easily delete your messages. The transcript tells us that it says if you write something that you regret, then do not panic. You can suppress your messages easily. Il est effacé, on ne peut plus le voir. It is cancelled and you cannot see it anymore. Okay, or effacé could be erased as well. Oh, sorry, I didn't align that. Okay, so watch out for that as well. That was a very common mistake. Therefore, the key idea that you should have said is that messages can be deleted and that any of those would have been acceptable, and you can delete, suppress, remove, take away, take down, erase, get rid of posts and what you have written, but we must reject any things like you can change your post, nobody can see them, or it's easy to stop people from seeing them. Quite a few people did not find, not many people got wrong because of this. They got it wrong because they didn't understand. They just were trying to have random guesses. Okay, question 16. So here we had an extract from an interview, and the correct answer are the followings. I'm just going to show you the script now. So in the script, there were a couple of key elements in there, and among those key elements were the things that they were asking. Question F, the candidate isn't happy with an aspect of the job, and that was the fact that it says I didn't have Entretien is an interview for a long time. This is a topic we are not necessarily have seen just yet. So therefore, you've got to also bear that in mind. And je ne savais pas comment bien m'y préparer. I didn't know how to prepare for it. And that was the negative aspect. Okay. The second one was the candidate feels pleased with the performance. And this is true because it says something about je trouve que je me suis pas mal débrouillé. Je trouve que is I believe that and or I find that and je me suis pas mal débrouillé. Remember that pas mal is not bad. So I wasn't bad. So therefore was pleased with the performance. If they say I didn't do too badly, then it means you're pleased with your performance. And débrouillé means, if you remember débrouillard from your year 8 course, débrouillard is someone who is resourceful. So I was quite resourceful in the interview. In other words, there, I did quite well. Okay, that was often taken as an issue because just before that, there were some things about the night before. And she says, I thought I was going to sleep badly, but in the end, I had a good night of sleep. Okay, which didn't match up with the question B, for instance, where it did not say it didn't sleep well, which was very tempting, but it wasn't that because she did sleep well. She said, I thought I would, but I didn't. And that's where they're trying to trick you very cunningly there. Okay, also, the next one is the E answer. The candidate is unsure if she will take the job, and that was justified by the fact it says, suis-je prête à voyager si souvent? Am I ready to travel so often, even with an advantageous salary? Then she poses a question at the end, and therefore, if she's asking herself whether she's ready or not, it's probably that she's unsure. Therefore, E. Okay, so that's, we also don't know what job she went for. Okay, so they talk about general interview, they don't mention anything about the job itself, but probably it's a job that involves traveling. Question 17. Question 17 was also difficult. I don't think many people got the future aspect, and here is the justification based on the mark scheme. You had something about the environment, and the first question was, what was the past problem? And here, this is where your tenses are very important. It says, ça faisait longtemps, it's been a long time that I did, sorry, wrong line. Ici, on protège l'environnement. Par exemple, nous allons avoir une zone piétonne. Allons avoir, this is future tense, ok? Car à présent, le bruit causé par la circulation est un problème. At the moment, noise caused by traffic is a problem. But that is for present tense. That's why it's written caused by traffic. However, the past problem, it says, avant, c'était les déchets que l'on trouvait au centre-ville. Déchets means rubbish, so it's the rubbish that we were finding in the city center. So is the rubbish found in the city center? Correct answer. For this one, you could have also have had a variety of aspects in there. So I'm going to show you were acceptable for those. Litter, waste, garbage, town, streets, and not enough bins in town. And for the future one, which we're going to have a look at in a second, you could have accepted those. However, those things were not acceptable. So if it were, the answer was not past problem, was not rubbish. Okay, TC means it's too on its own. So if you had rubbish in the sentence, that would have been fine. But if you had no bins, rubbish, any reference to village, towns, and dirty streets, the problem was the rubbish in town center, because and there you can see how specific they want you to be. Going back to the mark scheme there, it says also about the future one, c'est pourquoi aujourd'hui il y a des poubelles partout. So that was the past problem still. And for the future problem was just the last bit. Les habitants sont inquiets pour l'avenir. Ils sont sûrs que tous les espaces verts vont disparaître. Espace vert, vert means green, espace means space, and therefore green space are going to be disappearing. Here again, you can understand why you can reject green spaces, because the problem is not the green spaces. The problem is that people worry that the green spaces are disappearing. Okay, so in that respect, you had to have green spaces plus disappear. If you have just green spaces on its own, that was not acceptable. Then was a difficult exercise about education in Mali, especially that because we haven't done education just yet. So well done if you've managed to get some stuff on there. And what I wanted to say about this one is that one remaining problem for school in Mali is that too many people are in the classes. Key idea was that classes are overcrowded and too many pupils, classrooms are too big, too many students. But then we had to reject things like too many students. Too many students is not specific enough to what the problem is. It's too many students is not necessarily a problem in itself. It's where it needs to, you need to have the aspect that says it's in the classes, okay, in order to do that. Too many pupils in class who are naughty, that wasn't mentioned. School is overcrowded and not classes, and there are a lot of people in the class. That is a bit mean to not accept that, but here we go. That they make the decision. I would say I would accept that personally. And the number of people in one class, and that would be too vague because it's just not one class. In general, it's in the classes. So therefore, you had to not accept that as a teacher. 19. Question 19, we had the quality of the lessons will not improve if what? They talk about teacher training. And there, what was acceptable was teacher training stays or as short. So they said that teacher training is short, and also that the training is not any longer the course of the program to become the teacher remains short, and we could not accept teachers are not well trained. Training does not improve, any reference for this. And why are those things there? Is because for question 19, it says beaucoup de gens veulent devenir prof et cependant, si la formation pour cette profession reste toujours aussi courte, if the formation or the training remains so short, the quality of lessons, it will not increase. Améliorer means increase. Just before we move on back to questions 18, the key sentence was il y a trop de monde dans les salles de classe, too many people in the classrooms, which are surchargés, overcrowded. Okay, so you had to be quite specific for those two questions. Okay, question 20, that was about exam results. Haha, exciting. Here there were some people being interviewed about those, and they were sharing their opinion about them. So question 20.1. Sophie's best friend thought that it would be a good idea to look at their results together, and this is justified by the fact that the person says, je suis allé au lycée avec ma mère, lycée sixth form, elle était sûre que ce serait une bonne idée, a good idea, d'aller voir les résultats ensemble, to see the results together. Okay, fine, no problem with that. To 20.2, to avoid being in the same situation, you can do what? Look at result online was the correct answer, and here you had mais pas du tout. On peut quand même éviter cette situation. We can avoid the situation. Les résultats sont aussi disponibles. The results are also available online. So online was the correct answer. However, for 20.2, you could not have to do it or look online. Okay, it's no idea of the results, so you had to include, and I know that quite a few people made that mistake, the thing about the results and grades are online, not just something online. So if you write online, too cool, just online is not enough. Okay. Now, question 21. Another person was talking about there, and she was not happy. Again, they try to use the not, the negative thing there in the sentence. And if you look at 21, it says, ce jour-là n'a pas été un jour très heureux, it's not been very happy. Ma mère pensait que j'allais réussir mon bac. And we had also elle m'a demandé de répéter 3 fois avant de me croire, j'ai presque eu les larmes aux yeux. So the result was not happy, covered in this, and this was because her mom thought that she would not pass her exam, in effect, in 21 there, and that's justified by the fact that she says, my mom thought I was not going to succeed in my baccalaureate, which is the French version of the GCSEs, and therefore, no, A level, sorry, and then it says, j'en ai presque eu les larmes aux yeux. I almost cried. Larmes is tears in my eyes. I had tears in my eyes. Okay, so mom was not, she was a bit offended by that. So there are no particular, yes, there are actually. There are particular things that you couldn't write. Anything like crying, she cried, she didn't cry, she felt teary, but she didn't cry. She was horrified, angry, not as strong as this, or she was having a bad day, that would be too vague. So she was disappointed. If you had disappointed with the mom, then we would have accepted that. Okay, so any of those were the important aspects. Question 22, where we're still talking about results there. And in question 22, Patrice thought that his father would be proud, and that would be 22. So in question 22, quand j'ai annoncé la bonne nouvelle à mon père, au lieu d'être fier is proud, okay? Then it says, comme je l'espérais, as I was hoping, il a trouvé que mes notes étaient moyennes. Moyenne, remember, means average. So you've got to be careful with that. Not is marks as well, so nothing to do with notes. There, it's about marks. Okay, in French, notes could be the marks, but it could also be your notes, as in taking notes. So that was one of the things. So his father thought the results were average, was the correct answer there. And finally, according to journalists, you must always be honest with your parents and tell them the truth. That was the next bit. Question 23, that I have found the page of. Question 23, that's there. Et finalement, si vous avez échoué, if you failed, il ne faut pas mentir à vos parents. Il faut is it's necessary that, so it's not necessary that you lie to your parents, or you must not lie to your parents. In other words, les parents savent toujours quand leurs enfants ne leur disent pas la vérité. Parents always know when their children do not tell them the truth. And that's a life lesson as well. So watch out with that one. That was quite difficult. For question 22.2 and 23, there were a couple of things that were not acceptable in that respect. We can do that. So here again, if you're too vague, they will not accept the answers. And here again, too vague. Share your result with your parents. It's not what it was about there. It was about lying. And the key word there was mentir. Mentir is the French word for here. Mentir is to lie. Okay, difficult word to know, but you could have, given the context, work that out. Okay, question 24. Question 24. We were talking about the 14th of July, which in French is Bastille Day. national holiday in France. The correct answer was C, D, and F. So C, enjoy entertainment in the street. D, used to like watching fireworks. And here you've got to pay attention to the tense of used to. And the last one, F, he thinks that the cost was too high. Why was that? Question 24. It said, here I'm going to try to put both together. And then go. So in 24, in here, therefore, it says, par contre, vous avez possibilité de voir des spectacles dans la rue. You had opportunities to see a performance in the street. Spectacle is a performance. C'est quelque chose qui me plaît. It's something that I like. Ce qui me plaît is what pleases me. For the ones doing Spanish, it's the same. I'm me gusta. Le feu d'artifice, ça m'intéressait quand j'étais plus jeune. Here again, cunning use of the past tense. It's using the imperfect. Quand j'étais... A child is getting hurt in the street below. Sorry, the firework was interesting me when I was younger, past tense, and here it matches with the used to, whereas the other bits would have not been okay with that. And mais maintenant, je trouve que c'est toujours la même chose. La même chose means the same thing, very important French sentence, so I find it's always the same each year, so therefore does not think it's a great idea. And says, et en plus on dépense beaucoup trop d'argent. Trop means too much of money. Okay, and remember in French it's too much or too many. So on dépense, dépenser is to spend a lot of money. So those were correct answers. Question 25. Okay, there it was a department store, and I know it didn't sound like announcements in the department store, but they're not very creative. It's an exam board, guys, so bear with them. It says customers are reminded that tomorrow is un jour férié, is the key word there. Jour férié means a bank holiday in French. It will be open tomorrow on a bank holiday. Par conséquent, le magasin ouvrira plus tard. Consequently, it will open more late or later. For question 26, customer will feel blah 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 should go to the top floor to do what? Here we had lèche-vitrine. Lèche-vitrine is to window licking, literally. So it means to just look at the showcases in the shops and have made you tired. Tired, épuisé is also exhausted. Monter au dernier étage, go to the last floor. Quite a few of you got that. Pour vous détendre, détendre is to chill, relax. It's a synonym of se relaxer. They were playing with those, that's why you need to know your vocab quite well with your synonyms. Question 27. On your shopping receipt, you will see how many points you have received, and you can get special offer when buying food. And regarding that, it said vos achats. Back to question 27. So 27 there. With the cards of the shop, your purchases are transformed in points. Where's the correct answer? And then it says, from time to time, you will obtain some special offer on alimentation, is food, the food section. Okay, so that was question 27. There. Now, in the next exercise, you had to put your about the rock band Bébé Brune, some answers about this band. So, question 28, from the speaking perspective here again, listening perspective, and the transcript. Comme tous leurs albums, je suis déjà accro. It means I'm already addicted. Okay, you have to know this. If you don't know accro by now, you absolutely need to know that. Je ne peux pas m'empêcher d'écouter sans arrêt, without stopping. So they were repeating the idea. So 28 was definitely a positive thing. Then 29, 29, then was a kind of a funny question because you could write pretty much anything. I think they probably realized that the question was a little bit fuzzy, and basically it was saying what I like is the words that they choose to speak about their emotions. The first song, however, I didn't understand it, and as you may guess, this doesn't quite make a lot of sense. So in fact, you could have accepted positive plus negative, or positive or negative, or positive negative. Okay, so any of those were acceptable. Okay, very difficult one. So that therefore I accepted everything there. 30, question 30. Ça ne me dit rien d'aller les voir en tournée après avoir écouté l'album. Sorry, question. Yeah, 30. Ça ne me dit rien d'aller les voir en tournée après avoir écouté l'album. Ça m'énerve d'avoir téléchargé. The keyword there for question 30 was negative for the reason that says ça m'énerve. Énerve is negative. I've highlighted in the text. Question 31. J'ai eu l'album. It was negative because it says je trouve ça casse-pied. Sorry, let me move that. Je trouve ça casse-pied. Casse-pied is annoying. Ils chantent en anglais, they sing in English. Je pense qu'ils ont tort. Avoir tort in French is to be wrong. So therefore, that was also negative. Okay, question 32.1. Listening about a Swiss radio program. They were talking about after marriage, her auntie wanted to do what? She also wanted to get married, which was the correct answer, according to the text. And 32.2, pour elle, l'essentiel dans un couple, c'est, it is not to get married. If you listen carefully, and quite a few of you guessed there. And 32.2, you will see that, in fact, it said, quand j'étais petite, when I was little, I went to the marriage of my auntie. And j'étais sûre de vouloir me marier aussi. She wanted to get married too. J'ai changé d'avis. I changed my mind. Je crois que l'amour est ce qui compte le plus. It's what counts the most. Married or not. Marié ou pas. 33 was about the best was to go out. Okay. And there you had this. Cherchez votre futur mari en ligne. Do you look for your future husband online? Not. Pas la peine means don't worry. La meilleure chose à faire, c'est de sortir, is to go out. Ok? C'est comme ça qu'on rencontre son partenaire idéal. It's how you meet your ideal partner. Although, some people would disagree with that. In exercise or question 40, 34 and 35, the fact there was that she was surprised, and question 35 was rather difficult, and quite a few people got it wrong. It's in question 34, it's j'ai été surprise quand au dernier moment c'est la femme qui se sent mal. Here we're talking about an ad in a nightclub. There is a big man and woman. Mince means thin, so a thin woman and a big man, and basically the man, it looks like the man's going to have a cardiac arrest and is tired, or essoufflé is out of breath, rather. And it says, I was surprised when at the last moment it's the woman that feels bad. So she was watching an ad about probably health. Okay, so therefore, what was key there? That's the lady was surprised, Gaëlle, and grâce à cette publicité, Gaëlle est bien informée. She's informed about. It's not because you're very sporty that you're not sheltered from having a heart attack. Go. So it was not bien en forme, it's bien informé, it's to be well informed, and not to be informed as to be in shape. Okay, quite a few people made that mistake there as well. And finally, question 35, which was the latest one. You had this. It was about a cinema, the ticket, a ticket cinema, or holidays or clothes. The correct answer was holidays, because as you can see here, it says, congratulations to the winners of last week, which have seen their vedette is a star, the favorite star on the big screen. Des séjours à la mer sont à gagner jusqu'à vendredi. Some séjours, think about beau séjour. Beau séjour means stay, to stay, a stay, my stay in Spain. Sont à gagner, they are to be won, so it was like competition until Friday. Il faudra acheter un maillot de bain avant de partir. Maillot de bain is a bathing suit before going. And that concludes the review of our listening exam.